Population, 72,000 people. 10 minutes to get just about anywhere. And 2 ski areas for the locals to choose from. That's the way it was in Reno back in the 70s. Does anyone remember that? Anybody? Am I that old? In California? I am a Reno native, proud of it. I was born and raised here, went through the local school system, graduated from UNR. And when I think of the way Reno used to be 30, 40 years ago, I get all nostalgic and teary-eyed. I wish it was that way again. So I thought I'd tell you about some of the things that I miss about Reno and the way it was. First, it was so much smaller. Like I said, 72,000 people. When I was growing up, I lived out on the west edge of Reno in an area called Juniper Hills. It was back before Collin Ranch was developed, before McCarran had a loop around the city. And it was very rural. Houses were on maybe an acre lot minimum, lots of pastures and horses. And my parents had a house right on the edge of BLM land and Forest Service land. So as a kid growing up, I had that whole area to explore. And it was great. I went out there with my friends on my bike and we rode on the dirt roads and dirt paths. We caught all sorts of critters like snakes and frogs and lizards. I floated down the steamboat ditch and caught my first trout in Hunter Creek. It was a great place to grow up. It's not like that anymore. There's a lot more people back there, a lot more houses, and a lot more traffic. It takes a while to get back to that BLM land now. And of course, this isn't unique to that area of Reno. All of Reno, it's, what do we call it, urban sprawl. So much more traffic and people. I miss Reno when it was a little bit smaller. Now the other thing I miss is how Mount Rose was a little bit different. I don't know how many of you know this, but there used to be 2 ski areas up there where Mount Rose is today. And I remember that one was called Slide Mountain on the east side and one was called Mount Rose on the west side. And actually for a period of time, Mount Rose wasn't operating. Most of my time learning to ski was on the slide side. And I remember there were 2 lifts that went all the way to the top of the mountain. And one of them had this unique feature. You could unload halfway up the mountain. And when I was learning to ski, that's where I always got off, was the halfway point. But I dreamed going someday to the top of this unexplored, mysterious world up there. And eventually my dad said, we're going to the top. And I remember going past that halfway unloading spot and being scared, but so excited, right? This huge mountain in a little kid's eyes was going to be explored. Of course, those 2 old lifts and that halfway spot are now gone. But there was something else about those old lifts that was great. It was entertainment value in and of itself. If you're in the right spot when one of those lifts stopped, oh, that chair would sink down almost to the ground and then raise up into the air, up and down, up and down. It's like a roller coaster ride. Great for a kid. Like I said, those lifts are gone, and I miss the old Slide Mountain. Finally, how about those old Reno casinos? You know, Reno used to be the gaming capital of the nation, perhaps if not the whole world. It attracted huge celebrities like Sinatra or Marilyn Monroe, Sammy Davis Jr. And when I was growing up, a lot of those old vintage casinos were still around. The Nevada Club or Harold's Club, the Mapes of Riverside. There's still a few maybe that are left. Harrah's, the Cal Neva. You know, they had that character about them, dark and tingy and smoky. Well, not so much of that is left. But I'll tell you, when I was growing up, my family, like probably most families in the area at the time, had a connection, at least indirectly, to Reno's gaming industry. My dad was a CPA, and so he worked in a local accounting firm, and of course, much of their work was providing accounting services to these old Reno casinos. My dad had lots of people that he knew in the gaming industry. He knew Bill Harrah because he did accounting work for him. So because my parents raised their family successfully, in part on the casino industry, it's always going to have that special place in my heart. And it's sad to see Reno, as it must, turn away from gaming. So I miss Reno when it was a little bit smaller. I miss the old Slide Mountain, and I long for those old Reno casino days. But Reno's still pretty small and yet offers a whole lot more now with restaurants and entertainment, lots of outdoor activities. Admittedly, Mount Rose is better with both sides combined, and now they have the chutes, pretty good terrain. And I've accepted that Reno's future does not rest in gaming, but I can't help but wish things were.